Alright, fresh level 60 budget raiding guide. So this is part 1. I'm going to be seeing if I can use white gear and fresh caught pals to tackle the raid bosses. But the goal of this series will be to find the minimum amount of required grinding to take on each of the raid bosses. That means no schematics, no souls. I will be using food and health potions on some of the bosses, but other than that, it's just rank 0 pals, no souls, no IVs, no farming skill fruits, only those that you can buy from merchants. So starting in this area, keep gilding in mind for Rio later. It will be used to tackle Rio, so you might as well cash it while you're here. But then there's the Ragnarhawk and the Germantide Ignis that spawn in this area on Faybreak. So you want to catch maybe 5 Ragnarhawks to have a couple to switch between if they die, and 15 Germantide Ignis. And keep in mind that this is the minimum amount required, so anything you add on top of this will just make the raid easier. It's not supposed to be a guide to do exactly like I do in this series. It's always good to add some souls to the pals. You can always reset them at the same Anubis statue, but I will just be using the minimum amount required. But anything you add to this levels, you see the Chillets at Astral Mountain, it's level 37, so no leveling. In this raid against Libero, you buy Flarestorm and Seed Mine from merchants at Dune Shelter and Fisherman's Point, and you teach them to the Germantide Ignis. They are quite strong against Libero. She has an odd hitbox, so most attacks miss her. But these are just attacks that seem to work. And then I'm just trying out the Magna Serpent in this, I think it's called Magna Serpent, the Germantide Ignis exclusive skill. But I found that it missed quite a lot, so I don't suggest you use it against Libero Ultra really. You can see that the pals are doing quite a bit of work, hitting for around 300 with each of these little dragon cannons that they use in between. So Germantide Ignis is a good option for this from Faybreak. And you can always, once you have your 15 Germantide Ignis, if you want, you can go catch 4 more for each pal. I think that makes 60. If you go and catch 60 more at Sanctuary 2, I think that's the lowest level you'll find them. You can always condense them up to 1 star, throw some souls on them, stuff like that you can get back. But I wouldn't suggest using, unless you've been using the plantation and have a bunch of skill fruits, you might not want to waste stuff like Beam Slicer or Air Blade or Lightning Streak on them. Otherwise, if you have a bunch of them, that's always a good option to throw. And the same thing with the armor, since it's the purpose of the guide is just to show the minimum amount required. If you have some schematics for green armor, if you've run the oil rig and gotten like an uncommon or better multi-guided missile launcher, it's a lot better than doing this, because this is the white plasma cannon. I wanted to use like the strongest white weapon, and there is no white version of the quad launcher in the tech tree. You have to get it from the oil rig. But I think you will see throughout this series that it is quite annoying to try and aim for the boss with a bunch of Germantides and pals in the way. The quad launcher is what I suggest that you use. So I think I'm repeating myself quite a bit with just don't try to do it exactly like I do in this guide. Just throw some extra stuff. This is the minimum amount required. It's nice to have a couple of extra things. Then you switch to Ragnarhawk. I got some backup Ragnarhawks just in case the pal dies. That's more for Libero Ultra probably. You probably won't have your Ragnarhawk dying. But it's nice to have a couple of extra. You could always otherwise just throw in 4 Gobfins, 4 plain Gobfins. That's also an option. It's very quick and easy to go and catch a bunch of Gobfins and rank up to rank 2, 3, 4, whichever one you like. So every little bit there helps. Having 4 Gobfins will make this a lot easier to do. But that's not budget. That's a lot of spheres. So the overall thing here is that you've only really used like 30 spheres maybe. 30 spheres, no skill fruits, nothing like that. No schematics, pretty cheap weapons and armor compared to crafting like a blue or green or even purple version. I mean, if you have the legendary weapons, you're probably past this stage of the game. But yeah, so that's normal Libero with just these fresh caught pals and white gear, as you can see. And then just throwing those skill fruits that you can buy onto the pals. So it's not something you have to farm for at all. You can set this up in Probably just a couple of minutes. Probably takes longer to get the slabs. But for now, thanks for watching.